In a courtroom that felt more like a stage, the clock ticked toward an outcome that could change a celebrity's fate forever. What if the same acts that made headlines could also be shielded by the Constitution? Diddy Combs stood at the center of a legal storm that many thought was already settled. But on this morning, his lawyers launched a new argument, one that threatened to upend everything. They claimed that the hotel nights were nothing more than choreographed pornographic performances. And if that's true, could they be protected by the First Amendment? The defense said no law ever covered such kinky art, no matter how elaborate the costumes or lighting. Yet prosecutors were quick to label this argument as meritless. They argued that Diddy had crossed a line defined by the Mann Act, which prohibits transporting prostitutes across state lines for sex acts. But is a consensual, staged performance of a sexual act in a hotel really the same thing? The defense pushed back, insisting that no force or coercion was involved. No one was trafficked. No people were compelled to act. They pointed out that Diddy had already served 19 months of a 50-month sentence, a figure far beyond typical guidelines. Typical sentences for similar cases hover around 15 months. So why should the judge hand down such a harsh penalty? The defense argued that evidence tied to racketeering and sex trafficking charges from which Diddy was acquitted, should not influence the sentencing. They claimed the judge had unfairly considered those heavier allegations. But prosecutors said every piece of evidence must be weighed, no matter how unrelated it might seem. And then there was Cassie Ventura's alleged drug use, a detail that the defense couldn't even bring up during the federal trial, because the federal court had ruled it inadmissible, yet the appellate lawyers seized the moment to mention it anyway. They argued that if a woman can be used as evidence in one case, why not in another? The stakes grew higher when the appellate panel began their deliberations. Could they see this as an opportunity to expand First Amendment protection to new realms of adult entertainment? Or would they clamp down on any attempt to hide behind kinky porn as a shield? Time itself became a character, its seconds stretching into minutes and then hours. Every juror's gaze flickered between the legal textbooks and the flashing lights outside the courthouse windows. The defense team whispered that this could be their moment of redemption, an affirmation that art should never be criminalized. But the prosecution countered that protecting the law was essential to safeguarding society from exploitation. And so, as the arguments ran late into the morning, the courtroom hummed with anticipation. The lawyers took turns presenting facts and legal precedents, each trying to sway the unseen decision-makers. They painted a picture of a man who had never harmed anyone, only created elaborate fantasies for his own pleasure. Yet critics argued that fantasy could mask real harm when people are forced or deceived into it. As the final argument ended, the judges retreated to their chambers, leaving the air thick with uncertainty. Will they side with the defense's First Amendment defense? Or will they uphold the Mann Act and reinforce the boundary between consensual art and illegal activity? The world is holding its breath for a ruling that could ripple across entertainment law forever. Stay tuned, because the answer may just change how we think about what's legal, what's protected, and who gets to decide it all. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more updates.